At the end of 2024, the first global logistics forum held in Saudi Arabia opened grandly, attracting business representatives from more than 30 countries. During the forum, the Saudi minister announced a shocking news. It is expected that a Saudi-China Special Economic Zone will be built in 2025. Surprisingly, the construction site of this Special Economic Zone is inside Salman International Airport, covering an area of 4 square kilometers. Once the news was released, it quickly attracted widespread attention from around the world. This move by Saudi Arabia undoubtedly sent an important signal to the world that Saudi Arabia and China will work together in the future to promote in-depth cooperation between the two sides in many fields. However, as the incident developed further, some American experts began to express concerns that the establishment of this special economic zone may not only promote economic cooperation. After all, the choice to build this economic zone in an international airport may hide more complex factors, even involving military cooperation. So why did Saudi Arabia choose to build this special economic zone with China? What deep-seated strategic intentions are hidden behind this? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. We all know that Saudi Arabia's geographical environment is dominated by vast deserts, and the natural conditions are not suitable for large-scale development of agriculture and animal husbandry. However, deep in this land lies rich oil resources. Currently, Saudi Arabia has proven oil reserves of about 267 billion barrels, accounting for 17.3% of the world's total reserves, ranking second in the world. It is precisely relying on oil that Saudi Arabia's economy has taken off rapidly in the past few decades, with its domestic GDP soaring from $15 billion in 1973 to $18.27 trillion in 2024. Since then, Saudi Arabia has successfully established its status as an oil kingdom. However, this single economic growth model also makes Saudi Arabia's economy highly dependent on oil. Today, Saudi Arabia is still one of the world's largest oil producers and exporters, with its exports of crude oil and petroleum products accounting for 90% of its total exports, and its annual oil production is about 600 million tons. But after all, oil is a non-renewable resource and will be exhausted one day. Simply relying on gold panning in oil can no longer cope with the future changes in the global economy and technology. Since the 1970s, the close connection between oil and the US dollar has made it an important bargaining chip in the game between global powers. This has also prompted Saudi Arabia to deeply realize since the new century that relying on oil is not a sustainable long-term path. For this reason, Saudi Arabia proposed the Vision 2030 plan in 2016, aiming to promote economic diversification and reduce dependence on oil. The core goal of the plan is to develop manufacturing and logistics industries and promote the growth of international commercial trade, thereby enhancing Saudi Arabia's industrial production capacity and international influence. This is what Saudi Arabia calls the transformation plan. Their ultimate goal is to gradually transform from an oil kingdom to a global economic engine. Since Saudi Arabia launched the Vision 2030 in 2016, many important projects have been started one after another. The most eye-catching of these is undoubtedly the new Future City project. This super city has an investment of up to $500 billion and covers an area of 26,500 square kilometers. It can be said to be the largest future city demonstration project under the Vision 2030. In addition to this project, Saudi Arabia is also building the new city of Neom, a large-scale project with an investment of nearly $50 billion, with the main goal of creating first-class sports and entertainment facilities. In Riyadh, Several important projects, such as the future urban oasis, are also being promoted simultaneously. It is worth mentioning that in the face of such a huge construction task, Saudi Arabia is not fighting alone. Its modernization transformation has also benefited from the strong support of China's Belt and Road Initiative, and Saudi Arabia has therefore gained more investment and cooperation opportunities. Recently, Saudi Arabia also announced that it will cooperate with China to build a new economic zone at Riyadh Airport. What's going on? At the end of 2024, with the support of Saudi Arabia, the first Global Logistics Forum was grandly opened in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, attracting tens of thousands of government and business representatives from more than 30 countries. At the forum, Saudi Arabia Minister of Transport and Logistics Services Saleh revealed the blueprint for the Saudi-China Special Economic Zone. He said that it is expected to start construction of a Saudi-China Special Economic Zone in 2025, with a planned area of 4 square kilometers, located within Saudi Arabia's King Salman International Airport. It is worth noting that although this area does not look large, it carries deep economic ties between Saudi Arabia and China. The design of this special economic zone includes several key functional areas: logistics and light industrial parks, international trade parks, and living supporting areas. These areas are like a golden triangle, each of which has a clear function, while working closely together and operating in coordination to jointly promote the goal of Saudi Arabia's economic diversification. The first is the Logistics/Light Industrial Park. The construction of this functional area aims to improve Saudi Arabia's local supply chain and attract more multinational companies to settle in, thereby enhancing Saudi Arabia's industrial capacity. This park will focus on solving the pain points of Saudi Arabia's current economic model, helping Saudi Arabia gradually get rid of its overdependence on oil and promoting the economy to develop in a more diversified and stable direction. It can be foreseen that in the future, in the global cargo circulation network, the Middle East will not only be the stage for Dubai and Qatar, but Saudi Arabia's Special Economic Zone will also become an important logistics node, injecting new vitality and impetus into the global supply chain. The second is the International Trade Park. This functional area will greatly simplify the process of foreign companies settling in and provide one-stop services for settled companies, promoting in-depth cooperation between Saudi Arabia and international companies. With the rise of global trade protectionism, cross-border trade has become more and more complicated, and companies are also facing more tariffs and legal barriers. Saudi Arabia hopes to simplify these processes through this trade park so that companies can enter the international market more easily. Especially for Chinese companies, entering the Middle East market is often challenging, and the simplified version process provided by this trade park has undoubtedly created a smoother channel for these companies. Finally, there is the supporting living area. The design of this functional area is mainly to provide all-round living services for employees of settled enterprises. To attract international talents, it is not enough to rely on generous salaries and job opportunities. It is also necessary to provide a livable living environment so that talents can truly feel the warmth of home. In this supporting area, Saudi Arabia will provide employees with comprehensive services and facilities from housing, medical care, shopping to entertainment, and create a vibrant community. From the overall planning point of view, this special economic zone will focus on the development of manufacturing, logistics, and related industries, such as international trade. As the project progresses, Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries will be able to carry out deeper cooperation with China in many fields such as economy, trade, and technology. But what really deserves our attention is the location of the construction of the Saudi-China Special Economic Zone. This Special Economic Zone will be built at King Salman International Airport, which means that many matters can be handled directly without a visa. This provides great convenience for cross-border logistics and trade. The logistics park based on the airport will be able to become an important logistics transit hub between China and the Middle East and Europe, similar to a powerful logistics station, which greatly shortens the time for Chinese goods to enter the Middle East market and reduces transportation costs. More importantly, the airport will be expanded on the basis of the existing terminal of King Khalid International Airport as one of the national infrastructure projects announced by Saudi Arabia in 2023. The original airport has two parallel runways, each 4,200 meters long, equipped with 3 passenger terminals and 1 cargo terminal, as well as mosques, control towers, and other facilities. Among them, the terminal building is located in the same building, and the roads in the building are interconnected. The airport has a total of 24 boarding gates, 24 boarding bridges, 96 check-in counters, and other hardware facilities. After the expansion, the airport will be named after Saudi King Salman. The overall area will reach 57 square kilometers, and 6 new runways will be added. It is expected that by 2050, the annual passenger volume will reach 185 million, and the cargo throughput will exceed 3.5 million tons. It is reported that after the completion of King Salman International Airport, it is expected to achieve a non-oil output value of $7 billion per year. In the future, this airport will greatly enhance Saudi Arabia's transportation capacity. So, the question is, why is Saudi Arabia willing to open a special channel for China to use this important airport? In fact, King Salman International Airport is a key component of Saudi Arabia's realization of the Vision 2030. So far, the project has invested $53.3 billion in funds, and according to the plan, it is expected that the investment amount will exceed $260 billion by 2050. Saudi Arabia hopes to promote the country to become a global logistics power and innovation center in various fields in the new era through strategic cooperation between the public and private sectors. However, behind such a huge project, the situation in the Middle East is still full of uncertainty, which means that every step Saudi Arabia takes next is particularly important. To meet this challenge, Saudi Arabia chose to cooperate with China to build a special economic zone. This economic zone is similar to China's Hong Kong Special Administrative Region and Macau Special Administrative Region and enjoys a certain special status. Such an arrangement means that China may station troops in the area, and such a military presence will undoubtedly provide Saudi Arabia with a certain security guarantee. After all, in the turbulent Middle East, no one wants to conflict with a superpower, and this military protection can be said to be a strategic choice for Saudi Arabia's future stability. China agreed to jointly build this special economic zone with Saudi Arabia, and there are naturally profound considerations of interest behind it. Although China is actively promoting industrial transformation and sustainable economic development, its dependence on oil in the short term still exists. In fact, about 70% of China's oil currently relies on imports, and Saudi Arabia has always been one of China's largest overseas energy suppliers. Although Russia surpassed Saudi Arabia in 2024, Saudi Arabia's crude oil exports to China still reached 85.95 million tons, accounting for more than 15% of China's total imports. Therefore, with the advancement of the construction of the China-Saudi Arabia Special Economic Zone and other major projects, the two sides will undoubtedly achieve mutual benefit and win-win results. To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.